So today we're going to talk about what some people consider to be a controversial subject. We're going to talk about Hosta flowers. So some people love them, some people hate them. Wherever you fall on that side of the fence, here's a few things to know about Hosta flowers. They don't all bloom early in the year. Some of them bloom later. If you don't want to see the flowers, selecting a Hosta that's not going to flower until later in the year. That's always a nice way to keep your Hosta looking clean. I like Hosta flowers, and I still like my Hostas to flower later, because then you get that nice clean mound of foliage until the blooms come up, and then you have the flowers supporting the garden towards the end of the season as opposed to in the middle of the year, and then you don't have those stems hanging around quite as long at the end of the year. So one of my favorite Hostas, really I think an all-time great Hosta when it comes to Hosta flowers, is right here. This is Hosta Silly String. So this blooms a little bit later. It blooms for an incredibly long period of time, has just beautiful, numerous lavender purple flowers on dark stems coming from that mound of wavy, narrow blue foliage. When planted in mass like this, you can just tell it is going to be a knockout performer. To get a flowering performance like this in the shade, you usually have to go to annuals. Not so with Hosta Silly String. Another benefit of this is there are not a lot of long blooming perennials for the shade. So if you want to be supporting pollinators, if you want to be attracting hummingbirds to your gardens, selecting the right hostas that are going to have a beautiful floral display is a great way to keep the pollinators happy in your garden. Hosta flowers also tend to appear later in the year. Most of the shade blooming perennials, such as your Brunera or your Pulmonaria, those are spring blooming. So they're blooming early in the year before tree cover has the time to fill in and shade them out. So hostas, they bloom in the shade, and they bloom great. So that is Hosta Silly String. Definitely one to consider. So the next one I have, this is a really, really unique Hosta. So this is called Time in a Bottle. It gets its name because the flower buds do not ever actually open. They stay closed the entire time. And when they do that, they actually extend the life of each individual flower. So it's constantly in that bright lavender purple bud stage. So you can see this one is not a late bloomer, but it has been blooming for a long period of time, providing that color set off against the dark stem for a long period of time. So you get that nice lavender purple flower over a nice mound of chartreuse green foliage. And again, that is Time in a Bottle. So another one that I love is Island Breeze. So this one, similar to Silly String, has that really nice dark color to the stems. This is something you get from the moment it comes up, that nice red color to the stems. Now that the leaves are pretty much completely green, it really sets off this rich lavender purple flower color that is held above them. So that is Hosta Island Breeze. So right here I'm next to Miss America. This definitely has our tallest flowerscapes. Great for hummingbirds coming through your shade garden. This one also blooms for a very long time. You can see just the number of flowers we've already lost from these stems. So this one does start a little bit earlier, but it keeps on going. So that's Miss America, beautiful foliage, nice tall flowerscape. And just for perspective of where this is versus some of the others, you can see other hostas, they've already gone to seed. They're done for the year. Miss America still going strong. Now that's too big, then I might recommend one of our smaller hostas. So this is Waterslide. This has been around for a while. Incredible, beautiful, dense habit of blue leaves. And then it's got all of these nice clusters of purple flowers that just sit right on the top of the foliage. So they're never going to overwhelm the plant. You're not going to have to trim the flower stalks off this because they'll barely ever be out of the foliage. So that is Hosta Waterslide. So another hosta that if you love flowers that might be good for you is Royal Wedding. So this is one of those hostas that has a later performance. It blooms later than most other hostas. And it has huge, beautiful, fragrant white flowers. So you're going to get a lot of these. You're going to get them for a long time. They're going to help close down your shade garden. So that is Hosta Royal Wedding. And if that's maybe not quite your color, there's a couple similar ones. If you want those big white hostas, we have Guacamole. This is a great variety. Nice chartreuse color in spring. And then these big, beautiful hostas. Little bit of a lavender tint to the flowers. Then we have Cathedral windows and stained glass. So these ones also, that's nice, big, beautiful flowers that appear late in the season.